Hello, hello. This is Orion, Escalus, Celestial Wanderer, and AstraLog Member number 1. And I'm joined tonight by...
Hello, this is Arktos, your locked royal, your member number 2 of AstraLog, your guy who's back at the kingdom and had to rush his ass over here to get on stream. But I'm here. I've got the world's saddest suit, but I'm here.
Oh man, so things should be significantly less choppy than they were when we tried on the actual day. On the actual day of the new year. So this is technically the revenge stream. I actually had to unarchive the other one because it was so lame. But yeah, I was using a computer I hadn't really used for streaming or really anything too heavy previously. But yeah, and like I was not at my usual setup. I was visiting family, and would you believe it? The internet at my family's place is at the Escalus family household is kind of bad. And I was like, oh, I'm sure if I lower the bit rate and I lower this, I lower that, it should be fine. No, the answer was no. The answer was no. Yeah. For frame of reference, the computer I had before the laptop that I was trying to use, the laptop I had before that was like a 2010 laptop that was like just barely hanging in there. It was capable of, I don't know, opening the internet, but it kind of sucked when you wanted to run anything higher than it. So I might have overestimated the capabilities of this newer laptop. So I'm like, whoa, this can boot up in 5 minutes, faster than 5 minutes. It can do this, it can do that. Surely it must be able to stream, but no.
All I can say is you trying to pull that off has me thankful that I didn't end up trying to stream during my week in isolation, because all I had with me was my MacBook. Like, I could have streamed like a browser game or something, but I don't think it would have been able to handle OBS.
Yeah,
that thing heats up like a rocket with Photoshop open anyway. So.
Yeah, I'm even starting to think that like I don't know, maybe a browser, even a browser thing or something simple would still have been pushing it. Man, probably should have just stuck with a Twitter space, but hey, that's for the future. Yeah, no, so like my laptop was getting so hot. You put your hands on where the keyboard was, it was like an oven range. Like you can't keep your hands there for that long. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's not strong enough.
Next time, please just fry me an egg. I'm very hungry.
Yeah. Fellow potato laptop user, let's go. Well, I mean, the laptop isn't supposed to be a potato, but it's definitely not strong enough for streaming, that's for sure. Yeah, but New Year, that's what we're here for. We debuted pretty late into 2022, so there's not a whole lot to look back on, but we can talk about sort of maybe some of the behind the scenes stuff and just some of the stuff that we went through when we were getting prepped. But before we look at sort of like the AstraLog of the past year as a whole, let's just talk about what we did in like a week and a half off that we had.
Boy, do I have a story. I'll let you go first, though. You're the host.
Yeah, I've got a few stories. I guess for part of the time before I returned to the Escalus estate, one could say, I did a fair amount of like spring cleaning, I want to say, in my own place. But it's hardly spring. It's way too cold outside to be considered that by any means. But pretty much I ordered a fair amount of stuff that would have just improved my setup significantly, that I needed to like take things down to be able to put things up, if you know what I mean. Like there's only so much space on this desk, so on and so forth. But I got like monitor stands, so my desk is like clearer than it's ever been, and all my equipment is like neatly in its place now, which is really nice. I didn't actually get a chance to use it because last thing I did was the sort of like Christmas variety stream. Yeah, your turn.
My turn. Well, first of all, you've just made my desk setup sound even sadder than it actually is. You said yours is all like clean and nice. Meanwhile, mine has like 3 knocked over plushies on it and hardly enough space to hold 2 monitors. So it's kind of a mess. But yeah, holiday. You could hardly call it one. Boy, that was the single most stressful Christmas time I have ever experienced. Like, not to sound like a downer or anything like that. Like, I'm still fine, but well, I'm sure many of you are aware of the poor weather that swept a certain part of the globe this past
a lot of the globe, really.
Yeah. Well, I was visiting my Earth family to celebrate Christmas because they celebrate Christmas. So, you know, I try to visit them every year. And this year in particular, I felt it was important that I see them because some of the elders in my family are kind of not doing so hot. So I wanted to, you know, see them in case anything happens because I don't know when I would be able to see them again. Anyway, so I got caught in that bad weather. I was foolish enough to think that I would be able to get in before the weather came, which I did, and that things would clear up by the time I was supposed to leave, which usually for the specific part of the globe I was in is the case. They usually do a pretty solid job with nasty wintry weather. This time, things were very different, and I was trapped in that location for almost an entire week. Could not go out and see anyone except the one relative I was already, you know, in their home with.
You were only supposed to be there for a few days, right?
Yes, only for a few days. And, like, you know where my, like, one Earth relative residence is. It's not too far from an airport. So it's like, I could easily, on a good day, just go out and, you know, money pending, ticket pending, get on a flight, get my butt out of there. That airport was closed, baby. Understandably so. So my flight back to where I usually stay on Earth was canceled. So I couldn't just go in and, you know, upon like closure announcement of the airport, just go and get on a new flight. I had to wait for the airline to send me an email that it was closed, and they don't it was canceled, and they don't normally do that until like 24 hours or so before you're supposed to, you know, get on that thing. So I couldn't just, you know, reschedule my flight very easily. And I tried calling customer service, and I was on hold for 3 hours before I just said, well, I guess that's that. And on top of that, it's just like, I got kingdom duties to get back to all in the meantime. And I just gotta let people know, hey, I'm kind of trapped here against my will. I've looked at all of my options, and there's physically no way I can leave the location I am currently in. I'm sorry. To which everyone was very understanding. Like, it was a big weather event.
Yeah, you were hardly the only one. I know that, you know, a lot of companies that have established, well, in charge of air travel and stuff, they have I don't know, really antiquated systems. As someone with some degree of experience with antiquated systems, it's sometimes easier for companies to just keep old systems going as long as they can than it is to replace it.
I wasn't even on that specific airline.
Yeah, I know.
I was on a good, like, quote-unquote good one.
Yeah, so. No, imagine if you were booked with the bad one. Oh, man.
I would have been so mad. I'm just thankful that during it all, I did have, you know, a good place to stay. I wasn't, like, sleeping on an airport floor or trying to, you know, last minute book a hotel room or anything like that. No, I was with a kind, loving relative who I get along with, and also their cat, which, gotta love the cat. So, very happy about that.
Yeah, no, cats are good. I think I met that cat before. Very, very nice cat.
You have.
Very nice cat.
She's a sweetie.
Nice cat. Wow, yeah, but yeah, no, you got off relatively easily compared to a lot of other people, so ooh.
Yeah, and not to, like, sound incredibly grim, but, like, on the day before my rescheduled flight. Mind you, this was like 3 days after I was originally supposed to leave, but I finally got to see some of my other relatives, and like everything was clear enough that we could actually go out and order a pizza. We didn't do delivery because we didn't want to like wish anything bad upon any poor delivery person, so we went to go pick it up. But when we went to go pick it up, a friend of that relative was actually also at that pizza place at the same time. So that relative and that friend were just kind of like shooting the shit. And that friend goes on like a story about how he like nearly froze to death. And I'm just like, that's cool.
What the heck?
Oh, he was like laughing it off too. It's like, no, that's very serious. Like he had to like talk about how cops had to escort him back to like his workplace. Like they couldn't get him home because the weather was too bad. But I guess where he works or something like that is like, I don't know if it's like religious or something, but he was in a place he ended up with a priest, and there was like just a shit ton of like really, really high quality wine. So he spent like his post near-death experience in this blizzard, like sheltered in, I don't know if it was a church or what, but he and that priest were like smashed out of their minds on all of this top tier wine. What a story.
That's a Christmas comedy movie featuring Adam Sandler. I'm 99% sure. I'm 99% sure. What the heck, man? Oh man.
Hallmark's got nothing on that.
Wow. A real Hallmark Christmas movie. Oh my god. That's insane. Someone get Hallmark on the phone. Hey, thanks for joining us, Unithe. And everyone else as well. It just happened to be their first time chat. Yeah. Wow. Man, my stories feel so mundane in comparison to that though. Wow. But I guess you were super cooped up. But to be honest, I didn't have anywhere to go either. Really, I don't know. Mama, Papa, Escalus are very, they really feel that empty nest thing going on, you know? And I have a brother, and whenever me and my brother stop by home, they just dote like crazy, I guess, is one way to put it. They're not super doting, but they're like, hey Orion, what food do you want to eat? Are there any movies you want to watch? Do you want to catch up on some series or something? And it's pretty mundane stuff. Just hung out with the family. Finished Andor, that Disney Plus series, the Star Wars one. It was really good. Didn't feel anything like Star Wars other than the fact that there were like, you know, the Empire in it and the Rebels and that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. They weren't leaning very heavily on super established characters, I guess. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I could talk a lot
very
about.
Closely, admittedly, is that an animated one or is that live action?
Okay, do you remember Rogue One? The sort of like interquel that was like how they spoilers, I guess. But I mean, it's the premise of the movie, and you kind of already know that they succeed because Star Wars Episode 4 exists. But they steal the Death Star plans, and one of the spies on that mission is a dude who's like this legendary spy for the rebellion who's done a lot of cool stuff called Andor. And the series Andor is how he first got dragged into the rebellion, and it goes all kinds of places. It was written by like a pretty big showrunner or something, and they were given like a lot of just a lot of control and freedom over what they wanted to do in the series because Obi-Wan wasn't in it, Boba Fett wasn't in it, some version of Yoda wasn't in it. So they had like more control over it than a lot of others, because if they see Obi-Wan in it, they're like, yeah, Spock's, yeah. If you see Spock in a Star Wars show, all the executives want a piece of that pie, right? But Andor, it's just a one-off character from one movie. But the acting was really good. The story was really engaging, and it didn't really lean on any Star Wars tropes. Like no screen wipes, no overly dramatic orchestra music. It was a spy, like it's like how James Bond joined the MI6, I guess, but like a rebellion spy instead of like a government one. It was cool. It was cool. And
nice.
in terms of other well-written stuff, I actually watched Knives Out the last day that I was there. It was the first time I'd seen it. So like
The first one, I watched Glass Onion, so.
Oh, okay. Have you seen the first one?
I have seen the first one.
Okay, yeah.
Just
So
in this recently past week and a half, I watched the Glass Onion. So.
yeah. So Glass Onion came out, and I knew Knives Out was good. Yeah, actually, there is something of a Star Wars connection here because it was directed and written by Rian Johnson, the guy who did the infamous Star Wars Episode 8, the one that everyone kind of was like, "What did you do to this series?" But unlike Star Wars Episode 8, Knives Out was really well received. It's for those of you who don't know, it's like a deconstruction of the murder is in this room kind of story with like a Sherlock Holmes kind of
Clue.
character. Yeah. It is like Clue. So there's like a big extended dysfunctional family in a house, and the like patriarch is found dead, and it looks like a suicide, but there's a lot of things that point to it being something else, I guess. And this Daniel Craig, the like James Bond guy, I guess, the guy who's famous. Well, he's famous for a lot of things, but most recently he played the like, you know, Casino Royale, Spectre. What was the one that had the Adele song in it? I don't know, the really good one. Skyfall.
Yeah,
Skyfall. Those were like the really good James Bond movies, but I was not expecting him to be this like over the top, half bumbling, half brilliant detective. Benoit Blanc, he had like a heavy southern accent, was like, well, I think that the mystery can be solved like a donut or something like that, you know? Like, actually, the thing that when the Escalus family was like, hey, Orion, let's watch a movie, and I was like, well, what is there to watch? I'm like, I haven't seen Glass Onion, and there's an awful lot of tweets. I guess it's because Glass Onion's a new one, but Knives Out, there's an awful lot of tweets circulating about like how Benoit Blanc is like such a like well directed and well like acted character. It's like, what if Benoit Blanc was in Kaguya-sama Love is War? And it's like an entire dialogue written was like, Kaguya, my dear, I know you are pretending to not like, and it's just like, you know what? I kind of want to watch that now. If Kaguya fans are frothing over Daniel Craig, man, that must be a great character. And it was. Yeah, I don't want to give myself, oh man, it sounds like I'm boasting, but I actually called every single twist in the movie, but it was so satisfying. Like every twist was like so satisfyingly well put together and had good cinematography. So I was like, yeah, I'm riding this hype train. It's so much fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I'll probably watch Glass Onion the next time that I'm called back to the Escalus family, just because they really enjoyed watching it with me, and I don't know. Like they miss me.
Yeah.
So it's good to be there for them.
Coincidentally, I did watch Glass Onion with my Earth Mother, so she hadn't seen Knives Out, but I mean, you don't need to have the context of the first one to watch Glass Onion, because it's kind of episodic in that the only like consistent character is your detective Benoit Blanc. So it's nice.
Yeah, I actually think it's crazy how like it was original. Like, yeah, sure, it had loose inspirations on Clue, but like you can't really turn Clue into a good story. And yes, I say that despite the fact that there were those like, novelizations of Clue for like middle schoolers. Those were only okay. But yeah, no, Benoit Blanc is like on his way to becoming like as well established as a detective kind of character as like, Hercule Poirot, Marple, and maybe even Sherlock Holmes. I don't know, like Sherlock Holmes for the modern age. And it's the way they're like building up the series. I know they've greenlit 3 films in total, I think. So Knives Out, Glass Onion, and at least one more, but I don't see them not continuing this given how well received each one of the entries has been.
Hey, as long as they can keep up the good writing, I've got, no complaints about that. The worst thing you can have is keeping something around too long, and it just starts to get stale, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do think that the episodic kind of setups are very interesting, and quite honestly, I've never seen a like Great Detective kind of series where the Great Detective is like a dummy for like 50% of the time, you know? Like, dude was like singing to the radio for like, and like completely missing the fact that there was a commotion. Yeah, no, like it's a really quirky character. I think they did it really well.
I agree.
Man, we just tangented about shows loosely related to Star Wars for a while. You have any more stories? I technically have more.
I mean, I really didn't do much, you know, aside from play Pokemon, my personal file of Scarlet. I'm almost done with the decks in it. I've got GeoGuessr Brain Rot. Funny, you know, because I couldn't go anywhere. And might as well stare at Google Maps and have fun with that. So that's my current brain worm. I shoveled a lot, so that was exciting. My back muscles are screaming. Not anymore, but they were. And then straight up, I just basically slept through New Year's. Usually I'll go spend New Year's with some friends, like some out-of-town friends. But this year, you know, I didn't get back until the 30th of December. And I'm like, I'm going to sleep for the next several days, which I did.
Wait, did you not use a snowblower or a snow thrower kind of thing?
It was broken.
Oh my god.
So we got maybe 2/3 of the driveway done before like all of the other neighbors were out and about clearing their own driveways. And luckily, you know, she lives on a block of people, so it's suburbia, everyone's everywhere, and people were willing to help. So that's good. But, you know, we still shoveled a majority of that heavy snow, which sucked.
Wow. Man,
that said,
I don't envy
given
you.
the choice between extreme cold and high piles of snow versus extreme heat, I would take the snow. So.
Yeah, I think with like cold in general, it's easier to put on like another like layer or like, you know, grab a blanket or something than it is to like try cooling down. Like sitting in front of a fan.
I can't get cozy in hot weather.
Yeah. the anti-cozy. Yeah, and you mentioned Pokemon too. So I did spend a fair amount of my time away playing on a personal Pokemon account as well. I actually completed the decks. Okay, so I have not done any of the additional lore things, so I haven't technically done any post-game story yet, so I still will probably stream that, but Pokedex completion took a while. I know I've been memeing on sandwich making for a long time, but man, the sandwiches are kind of busted in terms of like what you can do in the game. It's like, yeah, what's the best way of leveling up? Beating the crap out of Chanseys. What can you do to make Chanseys appear? Normal type sandwiches. How do you make normal type sandwiches? Stacking like tofu and rice in the weirdest way possible on a loaf of bread and hoping that the piece of bread you drop on top is going to stay. Oh my god. Yeah, no, the recipes are super in depth, and yeah, it sometimes feels like you're, I don't know, you know, it's totally a meme, but you know that like they did surgery on a grape thing?
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to do surgery on a grape, but you're doing it on a sandwich. Yeah. Yeah, they do. I totally was just making those crappy pickle sandwiches as a joke, but you could do some crazy things. It's like, let's say that like Frigibax is like the final evolution. No, Frigibax is the first form of Baxcalibur, right? That new ice dragon that's like really good. Yeah, I couldn't get Frigibax to appear, so I just did like a ice type sandwich or something. I forget what components what it was. I think it was like avocado or something. Just made like a heavily avocado sandwich, and then suddenly the entire Glaciado mountain is covered in Frigibaxes. And I'm like, okay, I take my pick here. I also got 2 shinies completely randomly. I know there's like very efficient shiny methods you can get, but I was just pedaling around the desert, and I got a Sandaconda, and a Psyduck. Like, Sandaconda is like barely, it's one of those sort of letdown shinies that's barely any better than like normal ones. Like, it's like a slightly more desaturated shade, but Psyducks are blue. So I'm like, oh. Did I
One
get
day
the
I'll shiny
King
hunt.
Gambit?
I'm too lazy though.
Yeah. Did you get the King Gambit naturally, or did you raid? Actually, it was a lot easier than a lot of sources were saying. King Gambit, for some reason, the way that like little groups of Pokemon spawn, I think in the bamboo forest, there's a chance that Bisharps will spawn with like an entourage of like 4. What's the first form again? Pawniard. But yeah. They'll spawn with a little entourage. If they have an entourage, they will 100% be carrying the sort of like broken leader's sigil or something, like the thing that means like the thing that means that it has the potential to evolve into a King Gambit. So I actually caught one of them first. Like, I used a dark type sandwich. Actually, sandwiches helped so much with Pokedex completion, but I used a dark type sandwich, and it increased the Bisharp spawns in the area, so like lots more of those little entourages appear. Yeah, it's 100% chance. Well, at least I think it was, because I caught one and then I defeated 3 others, and I leveled it up once, and it evolved. Yeah.
Nice.
Probably the hardest thing to get. Okay, so a Pokemon that I could have gotten in the game that was the hardest to get, I thought it was Sinistea, actually. So like Poltegeist, no, Sinistea evolves into Poltegeist. Poltegeist requires that you give a particular trade item to it, called like the cracked like teapot or something.
Well, you can give Sinistea the the cracked one will make it like the not antique one. It's the chipped one that will give it the antique trait. But either way, it will evolve into Sinistea, just kind of like 2 very, very slightly different versions of Sinistea, if that makes sense.
I'm actually not sure if that's correct, because...
No, because I evolved mine with like the not correct one, I'm pretty sure.
Did you get like an authentic Sinistea and not realize it?
No.
Oh.
No. There's no way.
Weird, yeah.
Like, if I check my decks, it doesn't tell me that it's authentic.
Okay, so my understanding is that there is like a 1 in 100 chance. Like, all Sinesteas have like the potential for either being phony or authentic, right? And the authentic ones have like a little stamp on the bottom that represents, like, you know, if you get like a piece of fine china from like a potter or something, they'll put their stamp on the bottom and be like, ah, yes, I made this.
Wrong, then.
And a lot of fakes that you like, knockoffs that you would get from like factories or just things that are not made by like as good of potters that are imitating the real thing won't have the same stamp or the correct stamp, right? And I think the odds for that are 1 in 100. 1 in 100. Oh, either way, I thought that you would need like a lot of guides on the internet where like you can only get this evolution item from like the flea market kind of thing in like that one port town. But yeah, someone found out that there's like 100% spawn in like one of the forests, and it's like one specific spot. It always has it. So I thought that was gonna be the hardest one. Yeah, Palafin is hard because you need a friend, but I had Uma, so
woo.
Yeah, we just started a link session. Actually, that reminds me of the weird thing we had to do to get like exclusive spawns going, right?
Oh, that was ridiculous.
Like it's kind of cool, but it's really weird. So yeah, I'm going to wrap it up fast so we don't keep on this Pokemon tangent forever. But because I could just keep talking about it. But they have a okay, so clearly every Pokemon game with like a version difference has like exclusive Pokemon to each one, and that's been the case since like Red and Blue, way back when. In this game, when you do the co-op mode with a friend, the way spawns work is that Pokemon spawn based on a proximity to the trainer. Meaning that So we thought, oh, so if Uma joined my session, he would find, you know, like the Violet exclusive Pokemon, whereas he was playing Scarlet, right? But the thing is he ran around and was still finding his normal spawns. So then I looked it up, and like Cerebi Joe, the guy who runs the amazing Pokemon fan site Cerebi, posted a picture of like a trainer riding Miraidon looking at a Scarlet exclusive. And apparently, if you stay really close to one another in the overworld, your spawns will start mixing and matching. Like your spawns will show up for the other person, their spawns will show up for you. And that was kind of cool, because we kind of just went on a Pokemon adventure to various regions, catching the things that we didn't have access to. It was kind of neat. But then, Area 0.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, Area 0 is like the pseudo endgame area. It's like the final chapter of the game takes place in there, and it's a little different, and that's where you find the Paradox Pokemon, right? But I'm guessing that because it's like a pseudo instanced area, and the fact that you technically can go there with 3 CPU characters at some point, they specifically made it so that if you're running around Area 0 with a friend, they don't actually appear in the world. They are there. They're just invisible. So we had to... Yeah, Area 0, so good. Thank you, Toby Fox, for the amazing music. But yeah, no, the crazy thing is like Uma needed Iron Bundle, the like future Delibird, and I needed what? Brute Bonnet, the prehistoric Amoonguss. And yeah, like we literally had to like describe where we were and be like, all right, I am at the tree directly to the left of Research Station 3 by the rock that is above the slope leading down to the cave entrance. There is an Iron Bundle here. Please come and catch it. And like we had to talk back and forth, and we should totally play Don't Stop Talking and No One Explodes, because it feels like we were playing the Pokemon version of that. Yeah, it's like keep talking and no one explodes. Yeah. But it worked. We were able, like, the cool thing is oftentimes when you can't get a Pokemon from a different game, it's like, oh, you have to breed it, so you have like an egg. A Paradox Pokemon can't have eggs, so it's like it's always like you know, like it always would show as being like caught and traded by somebody else, except when you do this. So I have a full set of prehistoric Pokemon with my own trainer ID. It's really cool. I don't know if we're going to like complete the Pokédex again the same way on stream or something, but like that is one way of doing it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to complete the Pokédex on stream, because it did take a while.
I won't.
It took a while. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely plenty more for me to do in the game still, but Pokédex completion is probably not one of it. Yeah. Man. Yeah. Fun times. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and no, I just hung out with the fam and played Pokemon. It was pretty idyllic. And I guess one last thing about my experience with being back home is I think I figured out what my favorite food is, like of all time.
Oh?
Yeah, I know that when I debuted, I'm like, I like a lot of stuff and I'm really indecisive about it, but like, I know what I hate, right? But I actually think I found what I like the most. So Mama Escalus is like, hey, you're here for a week. Let me cook some of your favorite meals. What's the thing you want the most? And the first thing that popped into my head was a thing that she had made maybe once or twice, like 2 or 3 times in the past, which was like a deep fried curry bun. Like inside is like potatoes and peas and carrots and onion and potato and curry and ground pork. And there's like this thin rice, I think it's like a rice flour wrapping around it that is then coated in like tempura crumbs or something, breadcrumbs, and then like flash fried. And it is delicious. And for some reason, that was the first thing that popped into my head when she asked me what I wanted to eat. And I'm like, you know what? That's probably my favorite food ever. And like, I ate it. And I'm like, yeah, this is my favorite food ever. Yeah. 10 out of 10.
Character development.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 curry stuff. And I find that every time I come back from hanging out at the Escalus estate, that my mom always gets me into some new kind of like tea or fruit infusion beverage, right? The last time I was home for a stretch of time, she got me hooked on hibiscus tea. It's not actually tea. There's like a French name for like when you infuse a tea with like flower kind of stuff, like a floral infusion. But it's like this vaguely sweet, like floral tea that you can make with hibiscus, and it has like this reddish pinkish color, and I ended up liking it a lot.
Kombucha before, if that's similar.
Yeah. It probably tasted similar, just without like the carbonation and the vinegar, but it was really good, and I like ended up buying like an infusion kit and like a bag of like those like tea ready flower petal kind of things. And this time she got me on this like apple and cinnamon sort of like infusion kind of thing. And man, I like, sometimes you get those fruit teas, right? And it's like, it's artificial lemon, it's artificial orange, it's vaguely like tea. No, it's like this high quality green tea stuff with like apparently real apples, like bits inside the tea bag with like real cinnamon. And like, I took a sip of this stuff. I'm like, my God, it actually tastes like sort of like a spiced apple cider. It's like, wow, that's actually really good, but it's subtle and there's like no sugar in there. And I'm like, whoa, but no sugar other than like what bleeds off the apple. But I mean, like, it's you know, plant water.
Apple blood.
Yeah, no. And I ended up taking home a box of that as well. And you know what? Mama Escalus thought in advance, and she was like, Orion, I knew you liked the hibiscus stuff, so I got this stuff for you too. I was like, oh, I love it. I'm going to need to get some. She said, I'm one step ahead of you, and handed me the box. I'm like, whoa, brilliant.
Thank you, Mama Escalus.
Yeah.
Keeping my boy juiced.
Yeah, actually, I think I started boiling some water before the stream, and I just forgot to bring the cup up. So I will definitely have like a heavily infused apple cinnamon sort of plant water later.
You'll mail me some.
Yeah.
Come to my bedroom, cup in hand. I will take it and close the door on you and enjoy the juice.
Yeah. No, she's always super thoughtful about the whole family. Yeah, me and my brother especially. Yeah, it's cool though. That's kind of all I had, really. It's just, man, I'm happy my family takes good care of me, for sure. Yeah. Definitely a less perilous sort of experience compared to you, I guess. But yeah,
I mean, family-wise, it was fine. It's just natural disaster-wise, not so much.
Yeah. All right. Wow. Yeah, we actually spent a fair amount talking about that. Yo, we should do more Zatsudan style things. That was just fun. But
what can I say? I like talking to my bestie. Uwu.
Yeah. Also, if you take Zatsudan in Japanese, it just means like a casual chit chat kind of experience with somebody, and it's a lot of YouTubers do it and do it very well. But did you know if you rearrange the like Japanese phonetical characters, the kana in it, you can make Zandatsu? Ah, man. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance has changed me, Momo.
Good to know. I've never played it, but I think Raiden's hot. What does that say?
Interesting. Yeah,
really? Just interesting?
Interesting, yeah. Interesting, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, let's reflect. Yeah, Raiden does have one hell of a backstory. Once you see the words fish and mailed on the screen, your life will never be the same again. Patriots. Yeah, I'm certain that just making tangential Metal Gear Solid references will cause anyone who isn't in the know to think you're a lunatic. Which is probably correct. But man, I was thinking maybe I should play Death Stranding, but so we'll talk about that later. Let's reflect a little bit on AstraLog stuff this past year. We were only streaming for like a month, and really it was a month and like a week, I guess, and then we took a break. Now we're back. But like there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff. like we actually started spinning up the project, I think in 2020. Like
Yeah, late 2020.
I mean, for me, it was
'Cause
earlier.
remember
I got you on board.
approximately when you got me into VTubers because I didn't understand it at first. You remember that?
Yeah.
I was like, I watch some streamers, sure, but like, what's the appeal specifically of VTubing? And then I fell, and then I fell
now.
very hard on my face, and now here I am.
Yeah. So, the sort of approach we took going into things was like, let's not rush. And I feel like even with 2 years of like lead time, we ended up like cramming a lot in the last few, in like the home stretch kind of things. There were like all kinds of just developments. Like we can't, yeah. Let's just say that like our original timeline was very different than how it actually ended up being, and a lot of stuff that like is out of control can and will happen. But we came out for the better. Like nothing VTube related, but like life has a way of getting in the way of like wanting to do cool projects and streaming, you know?
Yeah. I am a king, and that does mean that, you know, quite often my kingdom takes priority. So that's very time consuming.
Yeah, but really the big thing we wanted to do was we do it because it's fun, and we want things to be decently high effort, like as high effort as we can make it. Yeah.
I told myself going into this that I maybe it's different for you, but at least for me, this isn't something that I want to like make a profession out of. Like I want this to be through and through pure hobby. Monetization, I don't care if that happens or not. You know, I can comfortably say, thankfully, I have, you know, an okay enough source of income, which is nice. That's not something, you know, obviously a lot of other people can say. So I'm pretty grateful to be able to consider this like just a hobby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Like once you start doing, you know, like it's always said, like your job should be what you like and you'll never work another day in your life, that kind of thing. I don't really agree with that, actually. Like,
oh yeah, no, I'm with you there.
Yeah, like work has a way of kind of like just taking a lot of the fun out of it. Like I'm sure there are people that make a career of streaming and VTubing, and more power to them. But for me personally, like it's never going to be about like making it a livelihood. Heck, man, I want to play games and do cool stuff and meet cool people, and I'm already well on that road, and it's only been a month, and I'm super happy with where I am. Yeah, like monetization, law, whatever. I'm not gonna, if it ever happens, it's not really gonna be like, yes, I'm gonna live off this. No, not really. If anything, maybe we could just, I don't know, like hire people to make more props. I don't know. Yeah. Like art and like in terms of planning and putting stuff together, there's a lot of things you need to do. But like honestly, we took a lot of things really far in terms of like, we want this to be high quality. We want this to be really good. If you're like doing it for fun, just put yourself out there, stream, use a PNG, do whatever you think is fun, really. Like we're here because it's fun, and that's awesome.
One of my like all-time favorite like non-VTuber streamers, like his like layouts and stuff, they're all pretty jank. And I mean, when he started out, like Orion, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea.
Who I watch. But like when he started out streaming, like all of his setup for the most part was pretty jank. But even with all that jank, he managed to, you know, make it extremely far. And now he's at the point where it's like, you know,
sustainable. Yeah.
Streaming is his main job now. Obviously, you know, that's not something I want to do, but it just goes to show you how far you can go with very little.
Yeah. Yeah, like 2020 was a year of like cataclysmic change, I guess. And it did change how a lot of people just did things and produced media, and a lot of people picked up new hobbies and stuff. And definitely it was just like seeing this wave of like cool stuff happening made me be like, whoa, there's so much potential here. Like, you can play games, you can talk with people, you meet a lot of people, you do a lot of cool stuff. And like, man, that is what it's all about for me.
Fun Uma Arktos lore fact. So a long time ago, back when livestream.com was the streaming website ever, I actually used to stream art on occasion. Not to like a wide audience or anything like that. I probably never got more than like 2 viewers at a time.
Can't believe you dox yourself like this.
Oh yeah, how could I?
Gotta check the top of the livestream.com.net charts and find our boy Uma Arktos.
This was well over a decade ago. Actually,
the archives.
Yeah, actually, one of the very few like games that I did stream was actually Toho 11, you know, the first Toho game that I streamed as, you know, in AstraLog. And I was streaming it from a family computer that was, you know, it's a family computer. It's not built for like any, you know, streaming or anything like that.
Like a 2012, 2013 family computer.
Oh, it was older than that. I could tell you that much.
Like it has that like family box computer aesthetic with like the rounded corners and like the like magenta-ish looking buttons, right?
Oh no, it was I couldn't tell. It was a Dell of some kind. But anyway, it was so ill-equipped for streaming that while I could stream on it, I was playing Toho at maybe like 5 frames per second. And that's the only reason I was able to beat Toho 11 Subterranean Animism on easy mode for the first time, was because the frame rate of the game was so slow that I could actually tell what I was doing. I was so proud of myself for actually beating it.
Oh man,
how far I've come. I still can't beat it on normal mode.
That's the 2013 Ultra Instinct buff, I guess. Oh my god, 2020 was 3 years ago. It was, yeah. I mean, let's see. 2020, 2021. Oh my god. Yeah, we've been planning AstraLog for a long time. It took us a while to come up with the name too, and even longer to come up with the logo.
I worked very hard on it. That's all me, baby.
Yeah, we were like trying to come up with. Yeah, okay. So the explanation for what AstraLog means, it's botched Latin, 100%. But Astra meaning star, log meaning chart. So star chart.
Pokédex.
Get it? Huh?
Pokédex.
Same logic. It's star chart, man. It's star chart. But we were brainstorming like what we wanted the central logo to be, and like, man, we have just pages and pages of what if it looked like this? What if it looked like this? What if it looked like this? And then like I found like Uma wasn't even there, and I was like just doodling, like doing like character design concepts and stuff, and I found a picture of Sasuke with like modern clothing where he was like facing away from the camera, so like the back of his coat was showing, but it was like a modernized like street drip kind of thing, and there was like a skull on the back of the coat, and he was like turning his neck around, so he was like looking backwards at the viewer, and I was like kind of just like erasing the skull and sort of like, oh, well, what if there was some kind of insignia on the back, and I just doodled like a triangle with like a dash going through it. I'm like, Uma, get in voice chat right now. I found it. It.
You know that one scene from SpongeBob where in order to draw a circle, he draws that really, really detailed head and then just keeps erasing it until it's a perfect circle, and then Squidward gets so pissed? That's how I imagine you right now. You're SpongeBob and I'm Squidward.
Oh my god, but yeah. So thank you, Sasuke, indirectly for the triangle in the AstraLog logo. Yeah, ultimately we didn't end up using any of the character design concepts that I came up with, because I'm like, you know what, I'm not a character designer. I'm not trained in this, I'm not experienced in this, I'm not a gifted artist, not an artist at all. I'm like, Valley Mama, take the wheel. And
well, initially, like, you had me helping out with your drip To which I worked really hard. Like we were at a point where I popped open Gaia.com and it was like, hold up. When I'm having a dry spell with art, I just pop open the character creator, which I mean it's still extremely jank, but there's so much like items on the site that you get like a lot of good customization. And I went so hard at that. And it's kind of funny that like after like you gave Valley your like little whatchamacallit,
like concept outline, right?
Yeah, that your images, your reference Bible and stuff like that. It's like it ended up being different, but actually quite similar to our little concept that we made on Gaia Online, which is hilarious to me.
Man,
because that was no part of Valley's inspiration.
I think, yeah, no, I intentionally did not really send any of the materials that we used. Like every material that I sent to Valley Mama was separate from everything from before, because I'm like, I don't want to give undue influence to my original design. I say original design, but it was just the doodle that we made in Gaia, yeah. But hey, I think I look great. 10 out of 10, Valley Mama. Best.
Mwah. That's for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's no. There is a combination of parts on Gaia Online that is a early prototype. OC Donut Steel. Exactly. But actually, I'm gonna segue into the next thing I have on the list, which is media that you like consumed this past year that you really enjoyed, right? So I'm talking manga, I'm talking anime, I'm talking video games, right? And I'm gonna start by saying, with AstraLog preparations the way they were, I watched barely anything. I played barely anything. I was just busy working on prep and sending emails and using what limited free time I had, like pouring it into the project.
Oh, I feel that. Like between kingdom duties and other stuff, it's just like, oh, I lost all of my time to watch everything. Plus, like, not to like drag on certain corporate entities, but a certain merger kind of like also played a part in me watching a little bit less than usual. So it's like, yeah. So it's like I had to just for monetary
anime
reasons,
industry is crazy,
cancel
man.
a few subscriptions here and there, but I mean, it is what it is. I think I watched a total of 3 anime this year, and
Right.
of those, 2 of them were rewatches.
Interesting.
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I watched 2.5 anime in 2022. I'm usually the kind of person who's like, in an ideal setup, I'd watch, like, I look at the list of like anime that comes out every season. So there's like roughly 4 anime seasons every year. I look every time a new season is like projected. I look at the list of stuff and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. This is interesting. And I normally, in a normal year, I'd kind of like keep up with like the handful of seasons I've decided to follow. I don't think I watched binging or watching weekly.
I'm a weekly through and through.
Yeah.
Binging just gives me a headache.
So I sometimes, it really varies. It really varies on how much availability I have. But if in a perfect world, what would I do? I think I would choose weekly, actually. A big aspect of anime to me is like the community aspect and the ability to like talk about it, right? So I'm going to bring up JoJo specifically, right?
No more JoJo Fridays.
Exactly.
This is tragic.
Are you guys familiar with the term JoJo Fridays at all, or are familiar with JoJo at all? JoJo being the originally started in the 80s. Yeah, started in the 80s.
JoJo no Kino
Macho
no Boken.
action supernatural thing, story. Yeah.
Who doesn't know what JoJo is?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Orion?
I'm just gonna give the background just in case. Yeah, that JoJo, yeah. But like, huge fan following. The adaptation that started in 2011 was a big deal. It's a very faithful adaptation and did some really cool stuff with art directions and cinematography and stuff that was good enough to appease the like ordinarily very sticklerish author. Like the author did not allow just anybody to do an adaptation. And there were a few cases where an adaptation was like made and he kind of frowned and was like, this ain't it, chief, and sort of like pulled the plug.
Pouring one out to the APPP Phantom Blood movie.
Yeah, but like JoJo's been pretty hype, and the community that's surrounded it, for better or for worse, has been very, very passionate about the series. And you'd never go a week without, when JoJo was airing, without people posting images in Discord servers like, you know what day it is, like right next to those Yakuza like animated images where it's like, you know what time it is, yeah, it's Friday night, that kind of thing. It would be like, it's JoJo Friday, right? And now, or like nowadays, all I see are it's Fine Friday in California and the Yakuza images, but no JoJo.
Oh, I see like Flat Fuck Friday every week now. You know, with a
I
really,
must
really
not follow those people on
fat,
Twitter.
wide alligator just chilling on the ground.
Yeah, but JoJo, man, like, I wasn't as fanatical as some people, but it was something I enjoyed looking forward to every week and talking with, talking with other people. And I think that is true for most anime and series. When it is in a format like that, you kind of can just talk about it, and that sense of community is great. Because there's of course the people who've read it and are like, ha ha ha, I'm not telling you what happens next, but it's great. Or the people who don't know that you're talking with, like theory crafting, especially if it's an original anime. Man, like, yeah, no, it's just weekly is the way to go for me. I end up binging a lot of stuff just because free time for me comes in spurts, I guess. Like, I might just have a day off where I just watch 10 episodes of anime, that kind of thing. But if I could, it's JoJo Friday, I watch JoJo. It's what? Just some other, like, each series has like a day of the week it airs on. It's like, yeah, that's the day of the week.
Wonder Egg Wednesdays.
Wonder Egg Wednesdays,
Did that air on
yeah.
Wednesdays? I don't remember.
Yeah, but the only show I watched weekly at all this past year was Spy Family Season 1. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. And, yeah. Oh, man, yeah, Lycoris Recoil, I actually really wanted to see that, but the summer was a really busy time in terms of life and AstraLog prep. So I'm like, Lycoris Recoil goes on the shelf. I'll finish it some other time. Man, for like, that's exactly the kind of thing that I would have loved talking with the community about week by week, because it's an original series. Yeah, I know people are like super hyped about the Gundam series that's airing right now, like Witch of Mercury. It's a very different direction from what I understand, and it's getting a lot of people on board. And man, I've heard that.
All I know about Witch of Mercury is that like there are two girls that are in love and a pink-haired girl that like decks the shit out of one of the other girls or something like that. That's all I know about it.
I'm vaguely aware of that. I do know that the sales of the model kits too have been like unheard of, like crazy. Like the main Gundam, the Ariel, is like sold out for days, and like anytime any amount of it comes into stock, it's gone, and they've literally had to like replace it with potato chips that happen to like coincidentally share the name, like Ariel potato chips in Japan. Man, yeah, they're like puffed potato chips. But yeah, weekly it is. But things that I binged that weren't, well, actually no, I definitely binged them. Things that I binged that were not from this year were Kakushigoto and Pretty Boy Detective Club. I think they were from the previous year. They were from 2021. Yep.
Wait, were they? No, they were from.
Were they from 2020?
Late 2020.
Okay.
I think that or very early 2021.
Yeah. Oh man, Kakushigoto, 10 out of 10. Pretty Boy Detective Club, 10 out of 10. Nisio Isun stuff, with the exception of Juni Tyson, 10 out of 10.
It still makes me a little sad that Pretty Boy Detective Club got no nominations in its year's anime awards. None at all.
If the name sounds weird to you, it is, but it's like more than a meme. It means a lot in the context of the show. Yeah. If you haven't seen it yet, totally check it out. If you like the Monogatari series and you like wacky, off-the-wall storytelling that makes you scratch your head and be like, that's so brilliantly written, only Nisio Isun could have thought it up. Yeah. Yeah, no, Pretty Boy Detective Club, so good. And the opening, Shake and Shake, banger. Banger. I think I listened. One reason why my Spotify Wrapped is like never correct is because I like binge listen to things sometimes when I'm working.
I'm the same way.
So Shake and Shake and like a few other things completely ruined my like organic sort of like listening this year. One of which is the song that I'm working on. The cover that I'm working on, but maybe more on that later. Any games this past year? Like totally include stuff you've streamed, I guess.
Well, you know I got really hard back into Minecraft. So for some context, up until earlier this year, I did not have like a good desktop computer really ever in my life. Like, frankly, the best desktop computer I've ever had. No, that's a lie. I was going to say is the one that I streamed Toho on, but that's a lie. One of my other relatives had like a desktop Mac, which was great for like art stuff, but for gaming, not so much. So I've never had like a good gaming desktop computer. Anyway, I used to play Minecraft like a whole lot, like over a decade ago. Like I've touched on this like in my earlier Minecraft streams. But the second I got this computer up and running with the help of my good friend Orion over here, first game I downloaded was one of the Toho games. Second game I downloaded was Minecraft. And that's like all I exist for now is hitting these blocks. I'm so happy to have gotten back into it. Like I know it's a game people like will easily meme on because it's like all the kids are playing it and it's like there's creepers and all the funky little spawns and all that stuff, but like I don't know, it's just a satisfying game. And I appreciate that like it's still kicking.
Yeah, it like hits the same part of your brain as like when you get like a big box of Legos with no instructions.
Yes,
like, oh
exactly.
Boy, but you never run out of Legos. You can farm for Legos, man. That's what it's all about. That's what Minecraft is all about. Yeah.
Oh gosh, what else have I played? Obviously, I've played. I'm big on Pokemon, so obviously I got into Scarlet last year. I was all over Arceus when that was, the Pokemon game ever.
That's right. I actually forgot Arceus was this year. Yeah.
Well, within the last year.
Yeah.
Now, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, no, like when I was coming up with my list of things that I played in 2022, I didn't even have it on the list. I thought it was 2021. But no, you're absolutely right. It was like January, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else? I am currently several years into consistently playing Fate Grand Order. There's that. Actually, just the other day, I crossed my 1500th login. That's how deep I am. And I still play near daily.
Do your dailies, do your logins kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. I think I miss maybe like 1 or 2 days a month, but that's just because I can't keep track of time, but I still do try my best to play. What else? What else have I played? That's a good question.
Muse Dash.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got back into Muse Dash. Actually, within... I guess it was over... Well, within the last year, I've started getting out to a local arcade a little more, and they've got a few, like, Japanese cabinets for stuff. I've gone a little less in more recent months just because I've been busy, but it's been nice to finally have, like, a place where I can kind of semi-consistently go to, like, play actual, like, arcade cabinets. It used to be that I could only, access them at conventions and stuff like that, in the rare chance that they managed to bring in, one of those third-party things that will haul all of those cabinets over. So, I don't know, I really enjoy those games. Like, I'm pretty big on Waka, which unfortunately is now offline, so... Yeah, figures just when I was getting into it, it was taken offline. But I mean, I can still play
game arcade
it's just
scene is a dog-eat-dog world. And Waka, poor Waka.
Oh god, it's so good. I hope it has like an actual like spiritual successor to it because I just love the play style of it so much.
Do you know what company made it? Wasn't Konami, right?
No.
Oh
I know
man.
that all the music is Hardcore Tano C, but that's not like the company that makes it. I'll phone a friend on that one.
Okay.
No, I'll still play Tune Them. That one seems to be kicking still. I'm not very good at like button-based ones. Like I'll try Sound Voltex, and I just think the coordination on it, I can't get down quite as much compared to like things where it's like you're touching a screen or doing something more akin to touching a screen. Speaking of rhythm games touching screens, earlier this year, so Toho Danmaku Kagura was a mobile game. Unfortunately, that is also already offline.
But that one
Because
has
I
that one
guess-
has a bit of a like good resolution, right?
Yes, so some backstory on that. So Toho Danmaku Kagura is a semi-official like Toho rhythm game. Initially for like phone mobile devices. It was created by a group called Unknown X, which is basically just a big collaboration of the like Toho music circles and stuff like that. So like, here's Beat Mario, here's Iosis, here's Buta Otome, you know, all those groups and stuff. And they all came together and just made, you know, their own little really, really intriguing Toho mobile game that actually like incorporated both the rhythm game aspect and the Danmaku aspect.
So like
Which was
rhythm
really,
hell,
really
dodging notes, right?
Yeah. But I guess like they didn't end up making enough money back to justify keeping like the servers for the game up. So earlier this year, it was actually like around no, it was in October-ish, I think, they like closed the game down. However, turns out they are actually planning to release a desktop version of Danmaku Kagura on Steam.
Like no stamina,
And
no
it-
gotcha. It's like just the rhythm game, right?
I believe so, but
Hell
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure that they've actually raised enough money to make it happen, which I'm very excited for. So you can bet on me streaming that once that comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool to hear like a success story like that. I didn't know that it was like practically a Dojin effort. That's pretty cool. Dojin, of course, being the like specifically the definition of like people coming together to make a fan work. Not the ecchi hon stuff.
I mean, it does help that one of the spearheads for that specific project is Beat Mario.
What
You
a
know,
legend. Love
one
you,
of the
Mario.
biggest meme lords in the entire Toho fan base, and he's basically best friends with Zun at this point. So that goes a
Yeah.
long way for him.
I think I follow him on like my personal Twitter, and he posted a picture of like Zune with like a beer tankard in one hand and like one of those really squishy Toho plush heads, and Zune was just like shaking the ever-loving crap out of the like Reimu head or something, and then took like a big sip. Oh man, it was great. It was great.
Normal Zun moment.
Normal Zune moment. Yeah, Toho music is amazing. Yeah, so I'm honestly looking forward to that as well. I didn't play the. Yeah, I've never. You know what? You're absolutely right. You never see a picture of Zune without. Yeah, he's every picture where he like lets his guard down enough to get a picture. It's because he's drinking. Good guy. Yeah, that's pretty cool though. Yeah, I didn't play the like the game when it was first out on mobile, so I'll probably try out the desktop version as well. Oh man, for me, in terms of, sorry, do you have more? I could talk.
The
I
only
could talk
other
about
one
my
I
gotcha
downloaded.
games.
I think the only other one I got was I got in back into Mario Kart, but
Ah, yeah.
we all saw our collaboration. We can agree
Yeah.
I'm not the best at it right now.
I mean,
so.
I think you're pretty all right. You're pretty all right. You just need a little more practice. Probably.
One day I'll claim
Probably.
that crown back from you. I promise
Nuh-uh.
you this.
Nuh-uh. Eat my dust. Eat pant. Yeah. Oh yeah, so stuff this past year. Thanks for reminding me about Arceus being this year, right? Man, I was kind of like a little disillusioned, right? So I wasn't a competitive player of Sword and Shield. Like Sword and Shield, actually no. I like Crown Tundra. I thought what Crown Tundra did for like gameplay was kind of cool, but everything else, I was like, I can't believe they sort of just, it didn't feel good. Like Sword and Shield wasn't a great like casual experience, I guess. And the story wasn't anything to write home about. And then like the next brand new Pokemon thing to come out was Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, right? And I wasn't a huge fan of the art direction or like a lot of the design decisions. Like I had a recent talk with a friend about like game balance, and Platinum did so much to make the pool of Pokemon so much more interesting than what it was in like Diamond and Pearl. And like just so many elements introduced in Platinum just made the gameplay experience more enjoyable. And they kind of did not do anything Platinum related whatsoever in the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl remake. Like it's a stupidly faithful like adaptation of Diamond and Pearl, but I'm like, wait, Platinum just did so much. Like what? Like there was only like one fire Pokemon that was available to you before the end game, right?
Funny enough, the thing that bothers me the most about BDSP is the fact that for like any cutscenes they didn't utilize like the full scale like models of the characters. They kept them in chibi style, despite a lot of the characters in cutscenes having like, you know, fully like proportioned models made. And it's just like, I can't take it seriously.
You can't take it seriously. It's like, here's
like
Cyrus.
The benefit of the original like Gen 4 or really any like pixel art style Pokemon game is like, despite the limitations of those pixels, it actually leaves a lot up to your interpretation. So it's like your mind is kind of subconsciously filling in the blanks of like what those pixels should look like, if that makes sense. I'm bad at wording that, but you know what I mean.
Is Cyrus truly an evil psychopath when he's a bean? I don't know. I don't know. Just look him in the eyes, right? Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, though. It's just a lot can be left to the imagination. Like, it's when you look back on things with rose-tinted glasses, kind of. Like, if I think I was thinking back... Man, I forgot what game it was. But I remembered a game that I played a long time ago in my childhood. It was like some N64 game. And then I like played it again more recently. Maybe it was on Virtual Console. Maybe it was on Wii Virtual Console. I don't remember. But it was like, it did not hold up. And I'm like, man, I remembered it being so much like better. But the thing is, like, if I think back on Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, I see those epic moments where Cyrus is summoning Giratina. I see the red chain. I see the distortion world in my head. But then when I think back of Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, I see like a not very expressive clay model going, aha, I'm evil, you know? It's not, it's just not, doesn't leave as much up to the imagination, but doesn't do anything with the fact that everything's chibi. Like, I think I brought this up in one of my own Pokemon streams, but you know, like Link's Awakening for Switch, the remake?
Yep.
How they went with a chibi art style, but they committed hard. They made everything in the world look like it was a toy. They used like shaders to make it look like it was little plastic figurines. There's like a tilt shift effect on the camera. Man, that was such a, like, they went all in on that, and I think it actually worked really well. And I don't think they went all in on that in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. So like the visual presentation is not something that I carry with me when I think back on it, right? So I don't think back on it too kindly.
Yeah, that is like a kind of overarching like feeling I get about most like current 3D, well, I guess in this case really all Pokemon games in the current age. Like, I feel like they don't really know what they want their art direction to be because they're trying to cater to too many different people at once. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, it's just it prevents them from really like shining in the visuals department.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to cater to kids, but you're also trying to cater to like all of like the man children and normal adults who like play Pokemon.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't know. I almost feel like the studio that developed it was given the order to like make a faithful remake of Diamond and Pearl, and they followed it too closely to the letter. I think when they made the 3D models, they literally just, you know, when you're 3D modeling, you can take like images and sort of like put them up inside the 3D modeling program and use them as like guidelines, right? I almost feel like they took the sprites and just the like top-down sprites and were like, this is our guideline for when we model stuff. I'm like, no, you have in-battle models of like all the characters. They are animated, they look cool, they're rigged. Why not just use them for at least the cutscenes? I mean, like, you don't need everyone to be a bean in a Pokemon game, or us. Like, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire proved, I mean, even like X and Y proved that you could have like small, semi-proportionate 3D models of the characters and make it work, you know? It's just like, no, everyone's a bean. Everyone's a bean. Yeah. Like, my one takeaway, the thing I actually really liked, and the only thing I really liked from Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, was how funky the underground was. Like, the changes they made to the underground, right? Something I've seen some other VTubers do that I think would be kind of cool to try doing. Like, I really don't want to have to, like, play through Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl again, because it just feels like a slog, right? But if I did get an endgame save file up and running, I would love to do the 15-minute like underground challenges. Uma, you're familiar with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I say, why don't we just do it with the raid dens in current game Scarlet Violet? Same concept, just using whatever pops up on our map.
Yeah, you would need a bit more time though, because those raids do still take a little more time. Not as long as Dynamax for sure, but they do take longer than just encountering and catching a Pokemon, you know?
I guess, but I mean, it's still a challenge, and I feel like it'd be more enticing since it's with the current gen, you know what I mean?
Interesting, yeah. Actually, I saw this cool sort of thing that people were doing in Scarlet and Violet in the multiplayer mode, where they were actually like playing hide and seek in the big cities, or even the small cities. They had like a person that was it, and basically they gave like a minute and a half counter, and everyone else, the other 3 people in the game, would stand next to NPCs or like in the environment of that particular city and just strike a pose that looked natural, and the other guy ran around trying to find them. It was like prop hunt in a way, but you were like trying to mimic an NPC, and I thought that was super neat, right?
Sounds like Ayano's challenge.
Exactly. No, actually, they were doing it in Levincia. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. They were doing it in Levincia, which is one of the bigger cities, and there's like all kinds of different places you can go, and it was cool. Like, there were some heart-pounding moments where like a dude rolls on by in his Koraidon and is like, where are you, just goes right past the guy who's standing at the ice cream shop. Yeah, it's cool though. It's cool. Yeah, but there are like cool things you could do outside of the box. What other games did I play though? Yeah. So like after Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, it was like Arceus. And man, knocked my socks off. Everything from the characters to the fact that it was like a low stakes kind of like explore the world kind of thing, to like the intriguing breadcrumbs it dropped with like time travel and the appearance of like characters from the future, or like ancestor characters being literally everywhere. And just the fact that it was, the gameplay loop was just so much fun. Like,
reasons Arceus is a very good game, Ingo is there.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, no, like one of the Gen 5 Subway Masters is literally in the game because he got like time traveled back, and like his memories are ruined, and he's like trying to remember all that happened to him, and I'm like, oh my god. It was really cool, and the game definitely,
you know, it's gonna be a good game when they bring back one of their token Tumblr sexy men. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I enjoyed Arceus so much. That was the first Pokemon game I ever like completely finished a Pokedex in, and it probably also helped that all the Pokemon were like obtainable inside the game itself. But man, the gameplay loop was great. I just ran around catching Pokemon like crazy, and then like I didn't play anything at all until it was debut time, and I played Journey. Yeah. Arceus kind of reignited my adoration for Pokemon story capabilities. Yeah, 100%. Because it told a different story. You know, something I really like are low stakes stories, right? Yeah, ultimately the stakes ended up becoming pretty big, but like that was like a well-developed kind of like character revealing themselves to be like more of an antagonist than you thought them to be, and like just a cool cast of characters gathered around. You had the whole like I lend you my strength main character kind of energy, like moments to it. You know what I mean? like, yeah, it's just they told a very JRPG kind of story instead of a Pokemon story, and I think it was very novel, and I enjoyed it so much. Oh man, yeah, characters were good too. And I kind of played some mobile games on the side too. Like, I've been consistently playing Girls Frontline and Arknights since launch for both of them, and man, there are bits and pieces of story in those games that are like actually very, very intriguing. The main story of Girls Frontline is like some of the best sci-fi writing that I've had the opportunity to experience in, like, outside of like Valhalla, right? And then Arknights, yeah. I actually really don't like the Arknights main story, but I really like the side stories and like all the sort of things they get into. Yeah, I was actually kind of an Arknights hater when it first came out. It's like I was actively trying to get my friends to play Girls Frontline, and then as soon as Arknights came out, they're like, I don't want to play this anymore. I'm gonna play something better. And they played Arknights instead. I was like, I hate Arknights. And then I started playing.
I never played it, but I really like the character designs.
Oh yeah, no, the character designs are brilliant. Then I started playing the main story, and like I've said this before in stream, right? But the premise of the main story, at least at the start, is there's an evil group, and they're like, there's like magical radiation poisoning in the world. And they're like, we have magical radiation poisoning, and we hate people who discriminate on people with magical radiation poisoning, so we will kill everyone who does not have magical radiation poisoning. And then the main character's like, whoa. But murder is bad. Discrimination is bad, but so is murder. And then they're like, we will kill you too, even if you have magical radiation poisoning. That's literally the story. I hate it so much. But then like the side stories are like, here's a political struggle between three factions and like a like spiritual sort of like overseeing faction as like this like hidden away country starts to slowly open up to the world and how it responds to that. I'm like, that's so cool. Or like, we're on a journey. Here's just two side characters, two of the 3-star characters, like the minimum rarity characters you could actually like make use of in the game, going on a journey of discovery. And yeah, break the ice. We have a real Arknights OG in here. Break the ice.
Gamer in the chat, watch out.
Just like the Arknights side stories are so good. And like, you know what's killing me right now is like like I picked up Neural Cloud, which is a prequel to recently I picked up Neural Cloud, which is a prequel story to Girls Frontline. I don't think the story is as good, but the auto chess gameplay is kind of fun. It is having a main story event right now, while Arknights is having like a side story event right now, and Girls Frontline is going to have a main story event in like a week and a half. And I'm just like, oh my god, there's too much to follow. But at least the Neural Cloud story, at least you're not missing anything there if you don't invest heavily into the story. But Arknights, angsty violinists and magicians and like crystals that fire lasers, my god, man, that's so cool. And like Girls Frontline is going places, man. It's really hard to explain the Girls Frontline story in a way to someone that accurately represents it without spending like an hour and a half, without just giving like a cursory, this is a futuristic mercenary group dealing with case-by-case conflicts against like rogue AIs and like religious cults that are like, we should upload ourselves into the cloud. And the story is just so well done. Like, the characters are so real, and what they do is, it's really good. But it does not start that way, and it becomes what it is through like, no joke, probably hundreds of hours of like dialogue and like visual novel style gameplay. So it's really hard to sell people in the game. I was hoping the anime would have been like a good entry point for people, but it caters specifically to people that play the game and not really, it doesn't really try to get people in, unfortunately. But it's good. It's good. And I played this a fair amount. I actually just remembered one final game I played this year. At the very beginning, I played Deathloop.
Oh, you're really into that one too.
Yeah, no, I played that really hard for a few weeks. Basically, the people who made Dishonored, I actually haven't played Dishonored, right? But I do plan on playing it someday. Maybe I should stream it actually. Yeah, but people who made Dishonored made like this retro futuristic kind of like spiritual successor where you're like a dude trapped on an island that's in a time loop, and for some reason he and like he's like an assassin, and there's another assassin on the island, and they're just trying to kill each other over and over again. And every time you try uncovering more, they're like there to stop you and like, hey, last time you got this far, you didn't like what you found. And then you like fight each other, and then whoever wins, you just both wake up the next day and you kind of like take your knowledge into the next loop. And it goes places. And the gameplay is very satisfying, very satisfying. I hear it got an update like within the past few months that added like new abilities. I'm like, what the heck, man? That's kind of crazy. I'm looking forward to DLC if they decide to make it for that. But I played Deathloop really hard for like 2 weeks or so. And then I got to the end and I'm like, ah, man, it's a cliffhanger ending.
Ain't that just the worst?
Yeah. Really cool world that they put together though. Really enjoyed that. Maybe I'll play Deathloop someday, but it would be like, I know what I'm doing, so I will probably move very quickly through the game. But who knows? Maybe it'll have DLC, which I know Dishonored had DLC that was kind of standalone to the story. So it's cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I said I watched like 2.5 anime, right? The half anime was Bocchi the Rock. When I was...
That's the one, like, new this year anime that I actually watched all of.
Yeah, so when I was grinding levels in Pokemon, I was just, like, mindlessly knocking out Chanseys over and over again because they're the best way to get levels. And I'm like, you know what? I can just open Bocchi the Rock on my phone as this is happening and just watch it as I go. Yeah. Oh, man, it is so good. It is so good. For... a little explanation, I guess. I started watching anime in 2011, which is kind of late for like a lot of my peers, I guess. But I just ravenously tore into it. I'm like, oh my god, so much anime, so much good stuff. One of the early ones that really struck a chord with me and kind of showed me that there was more to anime than just like mindless action and espionage or intrigue was K-On!, right? And I love the audio aesthetic of like an indie rock band. It's done a lot to shape my musical taste for sure. I love indie J-rock, that kind of stuff. And I love that like melancholy kind of like indie J-rock sound that you kind of get in like those K-On! kind of like style bands. And along comes Bang Dream a few years ago, right? I'm like, oh my god, this might be it. And then they start playing music and just idle music comes out of their instruments. I'm like, this ain't it. But Bocchi the Rock. I watch episode 1. And that is exactly the kind of music I get, baby. Exactly that melancholic J-rock with the indie edge. That like rough and grungy sounding like melancholic J-rock. That's exactly what I wanted. And that's exactly what I got. Yeah, baby.
See that
Bocchi
anime,
the Rock.
Joshiraku? There's a scene in that anime, Joshiraku, where one of the girls walks up to one of the other girls and it's like, hey, what are you listening to? And she's like the cutest girl in like the entire main cast, like short, like blonde hair, just a very chipper personality. And she's like, Death Grip! So they like just start listening to the music together and it's just like loud, obnoxious screaming. I was like, I get that same vibe, but as a whole series from Bocchi. I had a good time watching it.
Yeah, I know I've memed about it being me IRL K-On! From what I've seen about it, but like, man, it's just, the characters are very well developed and you can tell that the people working on the project are super passionate about the material, right? Like, there's a blog, Sakuga blog, right? They are like people who have like watch the industry as a hobby, and they write like almost like academic level articles about like how certain episodes are directed and what design decisions directors do and how certain scenes are animated, right? And I love reading their synopses on like the production notes on anime that I watch. And their Bocchi the Rock write-up was just like, man, the original series was, the original like material was good, but it was elevated. Like, not saying it was like bad or anything, but the animators and the directors in charge of working on it just elevated it so far. Like, they loved the material and they put their own touch on it without like changing what it was and what it meant. And man, the result is just amazing. The result is amazing. And
always really refreshing to see stuff like that, because I feel like a lot of the times we hear like these horror stories of overly ambitious anime projects where the entire production just comes crashing down because like so many studios love to like achieve high results but with too fast a pace or too little pay, or yada yada yada. Like that's always been a problem specifically with anime, and it's like kind of really reared its head like in more recent years, it feels. So it's really good to see like projects that like really hit it off in a right direction.
Yeah, no, you hear those unfortunate stories all too often where it's just like things are too ambitious, or so they never really quite come together, or they
Wonder Egg priority.
Wonder Egg, Madchen Marchen, the Persona 5 adaptation. Oh man, it's just a lot of stuff just got in the way of it being exactly what it was supposed to be, and it falling short made it so much less than what it could have been, unfortunately. Yeah, but Bocchi, oh man, that I want to learn more about that director and check out what else they've worked on, or keep an eye on them in the future, because they know what they're doing and there is a lot of passion. Like the staff clearly put a lot of passion into what they worked on. Yeah.
Something I really like about so I really enjoyed about watching Bocchi was like a lot of the mixed media they used in it. Like sometimes they'd cut away like stop motion gags, or there was like the one scene where it was like, oh gosh, what's it called? The one like animation. Zoetrope, yes.
Yeah.
That was really awesome to me.
Yeah, a zoetrope is a like spinning kind of thing that you could like crank well, in the old days, you'd crank like a lever and it would cause like this disc to spin, and like the cutouts on the disc form like an animation if you like flash the lights at the right frame rate kind of thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's just they were able to execute a lot of the ideas in the original in such novel ways that like people are still sharing like the clips on Twitter to this day, Yeah, and man, just it is a good day to be a Bocchi the Rock fan, and who isn't at this point in time, It's good stuff for sure. Man. Yeah, so we didn't do a whole lot this past year, but we talked a lot about what little we did. It's good stuff though. Yeah. So the takeaways, Pokemon is on an upward swing. Yeah. So if I were to crown like an anime of the year, I gotta give it to Bocchi, because like that's all I haven't even finished it, so I give it half of an anime of the year. Probably the other half goes to Spy Family by default. I loved that.
Was the second half of Ranking of Kings in winter of this year, winter of last year?
I think it was.
Because episode 21 of Ranking of Kings is like the best episode of anime anything ever I will probably ever watch.
Yeah, Ranking of Kings. I know you were like talking about, oh my god, it's really popping off this week, but I was like, it popped off last week, didn't it? Yeah.
That was such a good show. I really hope they, continue to adapt it, because it was so good. It was so good. Man,
this past year was a blur. Yeah, no, I completely forgot about that, but man,
if ever you want to feel like time is fake, just try to recall whatever like the previous winter seasons like anime were. Hey, remember your boy Kome?
Oh my god, that was this year.
Yeah, that was 2021.
Cheeky Bon Bon. Oh my god. That was the spring, wasn't it?
I think so.
Oh my god. I meant to watch that weekly too. I had like friends who were like, Orion, you need to watch. Time is a cube. Yeah, but if I had to award half of a, you're right. I would have loved Like Horse Recoil if I watched it. I would have loved Combing if I watched it. I would have loved Ranking of Kings if I watched it, but I was so busy. So the half award, half anime, Orion half anime of the year award goes to Bocchi the Rock, because I watched 6 episodes of it before the end of the year. And I know I'll be watching more. Weekly watch-alongs. I wonder about that. Maybe we can do something that we were tossing around, was doing like a like a book club kind of thing, but with like anime. So maybe we pick like 1 or 2 anime to like watch every week, and your assignment is to watch it before the next week so we can talk about it in our book club, right? It cuts.
I don't think personally I will do watch-alongs, at least in the near future.
Oh yeah, not a watch along,
So-
but like let's have a weekly anime discussion, right? And we just book club those things. Like you watch it on your own time, then we come back and talk about the episode, you know? Maybe we spend 30 minutes doing it because we were like, not a whole lot happened this week, or the show turned into crap. But I don't know, like it would be cool to just have like a anime conversation or something. It's fun. Especially about what's airing. But yeah, maybe, perhaps not watch alongs, but yeah.
The only other 2 things that I watched this year, like I said, are just rewatches. One was Panty and Stocking again, and the other one was Trigun again.
Season 2 is confirmed, man. For both. What the heck? Second season
exactly.
for both?
That's why I rewatched them. Like the second, like the trailer for Trigun came out. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna rewatch it all in one go. Well,
yeah, Trigun is
not all in one go, but I rewatched.
Yeah,
you know,
Trigun is being animated by the people who animated Land of the Lustrous and Beastars. And it's sort of a reboot, but it's an alternate telling as well, right?
What's that?
It's a reboot and an alternate telling as well, right?
That's what I understand it to be. It doesn't seem to be after the events of original Trigun, because I mean we've got Wolfwood there, so.
Yeah, I am wondering if it is an Trigun's universe has room for a lot of crazy shit to happen, right? So I'm like, you know, once you introduce concepts like that, you know, it's like, it's spoilers, I guess, but I won't say what series it was, but a famous series got a reboot in the past few years where people are like, oh my gosh, amazing. The original series the animation was like very low budget, but it was like a very good series. And people were like, oh man, the reboot's going to be great. And then it pretended to be a reboot for like 2 episodes before, bam, one of the characters from the original series with all the memories of the original series is in the background and being like, I'm gonna cut you. I mean, it's late enough. It's late enough after it came out that people probably know what it is, but it's Higurashi, actually.
Oh, right.
Higurashi's reboot was actually a sequel that sort of like created a Groundhog's Day loop where characters from the first loop were trapped with characters from like the new continuity. It went places. It was
a trip.
Yeah.
Higurashi's kind of always a trip.
I think it landed on a cliffhanger as well. Oh man. Yeah. When is Umineko getting a proper adaptation, man?
When is my favorite manga, Fist of the North Star, getting a proper
good adaptation? Well, I mean,
what about
it's getting
Berserk?
Something, right? Like Fist of the North Star is getting something, right?
This year is its 40th anniversary, and they've hinted at a project, but we don't know what that project is. So until they say anything, I'm just gonna guess it's a new pachinko machine. If you get the reference, here's a nickel.
Oh man, no, yeah, it might be a pachinko machine. I really hope it isn't. In terms of the game award I want to give, if I were to give a game award, it would probably be Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Man, like I said I was going to give it a few weeks till after I finished the game to really decide if it was my number one. Because I usually, if I play a game or something, I'm like, that was so good. Or I watch a movie and it was so good. I give it some time and then I'm like, hey, was it actually as good as it was? And I am still thinking about the final confrontation. I'm still thinking about the final confrontation in Pokemon. And man, what a series of events it was. Like just as a package, what the game had to offer was just so enjoyable for me. Like it hit all the right chords. Yeah, it was a buggy mess at points. Yeah, the frame rate kind of sucks. But like it had heart, and I really hope that whatever they're doing to address the game gets in a position where the haters can kind of like back off enough to be able to like appreciate what's actually there. I understand it's not a very fair kind of want for a game like that, but I mean, it would be nice for it to be able to shine for its merits instead of people being like, it's the buggy Pokemon game, you know?
Yeah, I'm a weirdo who plays Pokemon for the lore, so I totally get you.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
I don't like I can it's I know it's poor of me, but I can look past the worst of all technical bugs, no matter the series, as long as the story is good.
I agree. Yeah. I know so many people that are like, you're just blindly loving it, but I'm like, maybe I am, but what it did right was just so right. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to win any arguments at all about, like, people who are like, they shouldn't have released it in that state, they shouldn't get my support. I'm like, oh, fine, but I'll play it, I'll enjoy
I
it,
definitely
and I'll tell
agree
people
they shouldn't
that it
have
was a good
released
time.
it in that state. I would have happily waited longer for, like, better polish.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is. It's already out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm gonna sing my praises, and I'm still going to say they could do better. But I still think overall, for the reasons I play Pokemon, it's a good set of games.
I'm hoping that they seem to leave a lot of very interesting breadcrumbs and open the door to a lot of possibilities that I'm hoping that they touch upon in presumably the DLC that's coming up in the future. I do kind of like that DLC model that they have, because I would rather get DLC to play like an extra chapter than, you know, buying Pokemon, we got purple, we got red, Pokemon crystal version. We already have a crystal version. We already have a crystal version. I'm just trying to think of another, like, Pokemon. I want to say Emerald, but I know that's a version too. Pokemon Green version, that's a version
Quartz.
too. Pokemon Infrared. You know, we got Scarlet, we got Violet, and we got Pokemon Infrared, right? I would rather play a DLC for Scarlet and Violet than play Pokemon Infrared, right? Or, like, have to buy it again. I know there's a lot of people that are like, they're locking content behind stuff. But personally, I think that there is a right way of doing DLC and a wrong way of doing DLC, and I think that the expansion style that they did in Sword and Shield was pretty good. It's not like it was cut from the game. You know what I mean? Like, clearly there's been like, yes, Call of Duty 27 comes out, and this character skin is only available if you buy the DLC, but it was like totally in the game, you know, on the disc, and it's like whatever. Clearly, Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra was not a part of Sword and Shield, and that was something they added, and they experimented heavily with like gameplay styles, and like it came out all the better for it, I think.
I mean, at least in terms of, like, Scarlet Violet, like, if you look at your world map, you can tell exactly where DLC is probably going to be. Then again, I said the exact same thing about Arceus, about, like, certain clouds on the map, and there was, like, nothing that ever came of that. So, what do I know?
Exactly. Yeah, no, you say it really well, Bear Cakes. DLC expanding the game is wonderful. DLC completing the game is not wonderful. Yeah, I think as a package, for what it was, Sword and Shield delivered in its package. Yes, it fell kind of short, but I think it was just kind of like lame-o Pokemon package compared to what we were expecting. But Tundra, I mean, Isle of Armor, you know, we got Hop licking and attempting to eat some Pokemon to see if they tasted good. Whatever. But Crown Tundra, man, there was some cool stuff in that. You know, like that was all additional. I thought that was cool. Yeah, and I'm hoping to see the same for Scarlet and Violet. I almost want to see Thunder Ostrich. Yeah. Oh man, Zapdos was so silly. Yeah, I feel like maybe Arceus would have gotten DLC if, like, just more updates in general if Scarlet and Violet wasn't coming out in the same year. I have no idea how Game Freak is dividing their staff internally, but I definitely feel like this was a tight timeline for them. Yeah.
They gotta tone it down.
Yeah. Again,
respectfully, please relax, Game Freak.
I wouldn't mind if they took it slow. Like, they don't need to do a yearly thing. I mean, they got Ilka now, right? I 100% would have been fine with them spacing out the releases. Like, we got Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl right before Arceus. They could have spaced it out, you know? Like, they could have given us Arceus in the summer, and, you know, maybe, I don't know, Scarlet and Violet on Pokemon Day of like this year in a few months instead of for the holiday season. Heck, Arceus could have been like released Yeah, Arceus could have been released like when Scarlet and Violet was released, and if they spaced out, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl a bit, I don't think people would have minded too much. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh is fighting for the same slot. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh's doing well too, but like it's not really a Pokemon competitor anymore. Nothing is really directly competing with Pokemon anymore in terms of like the AAA, thing that everyone loves.
And like in terms of timing the games, like the argument could be made that like the main title games are like coming out at like the same pace that they always have been, except the issue is they are now at a much grander scope than ever before. So that's where things start to fall apart, is you're using these old timing models for older systems and older processes, and you're not accounting for everything that's going into the newer stuff.
Yeah, man, I just let them cook. Let them have some more time. Yeah, I do hope that like this move to the expansion model puts less strain on them to just release smaller little experiences. Like, sure, again, I'm dunking on Isle of Armor again. It could have been better, but like, I'm sure it didn't take as much effort to make Isle of Armor than it did like Emerald version, Yeah. And it like added cool things to the game too. So like, especially from a competitive aspect, you can give like the Gigantamax to practically anyone. Oh yeah. Somebody pointed it out to me, right? We got Mega, we got Giga in Gigantamax, and we got Terra, right? I wonder if that means anything. Or they're just going along like just following like the like data storage naming scheme, right? I don't know. Megabyte.
Maybe just like big
gigabyte.
Monsters.
Yeah.
Next time we go really small with like a, I don't know,
Kilamax. Terastallization. It'll be like Ant-Man. He gets really small and it matters. Yeah, but that's kind of the media we enjoyed this past year, right? I give the crown to Bochi and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. How about you? Similar?
I feel like I haven't consumed enough to be able to give a proper reward.
Oh yeah, no, this is super unofficial. Just from what you've done.
I realize that. I'm just saying, It's like I feel like I don't have a proper gauge on everything.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, undecided, but yeah, I'm not about to make a post being like, this is the AstraLog official awards. Maybe someday, but not this year, not this time around. Man, we talked about that for a while, but I think we've reached resolutions. Yeah, resolutions. You got any cool VTubing aspirations for the next year? Some reasonable goals? Some lofty things to reach for?
Frankly, my goals are pretty small. If I'm being honest, I want consistently across both Twitch and YouTube an average of 5 viewers per stream. Very small number. If once I get 50 followers on Twitch, I'm going to do an art giveaway. I think I'm like 15 away from that.
Ooh.
Personal resolution, like in terms of self-improvement, I want to potentially like overcome my nervousness when it comes to like drawing or animating on stream. Like, I'm not going to sell myself short. Like, I'm a decent artist and animator, and like I have good animation software on hand. It's just I'm not sure I'm ready for people watching me do that, but I feel like it'd be pretty cool to do in the future. Like I said earlier, it's like I used to stream art to like 2 people on livestream.com or whatever it was called when I was a much more naive artist and all of that, but very rarely nowadays do I just like go and, do it in front of people.
Yeah,
I feel like I had one more, but I can't remember what else I had. It'll probably come to me.
Reasonable and attainable. Yeah. Just as a reminder, I don't feel like I do this very often. Maybe I should do it more. I don't know. Or maybe it's just annoying. Subscribe and follow for more content. I guess it helps us. It helps us grow. And Uma too. 100%. Follow Uma. I think
Hashtag
we have.
ad.
Yeah, we have our profiles set up in such a way that you can probably get to the main AstraLog one, and there's like everything there, and I have a link tree, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Just follow.
I mean, I'm
help
just
us grow.
at Uma Arktos on
Yeah.
all of our usual stuff.
Tell your
so.
friends, tell your family, get your mom to watch. Just wholesome family content. No, not really, but I don't know. It just would be nice to grow. For my resolutions, I didn't really put anything with like a real quantity, unless it was something directly in my control, right? But make closer, or at least being partially in my control, right? So, so I didn't really do view counts or like subs or follows or stuff, but just like things I wanted to see myself doing in the next year. There is one number, but I feel I have more control over that, and that's like a me thing I need to get over. I want to eventually complete all the Souls games. I want to stream them. However, they're really
long
hard.
games, aren't they?
They're really hard, and they're pretty long, yeah. So I wanna make it reasonable, right? I'm gonna say any of the modern From Software games that have Souls in the name, I'm gonna play them chronologically and complete them this year. Maybe I do it really fast. Maybe I do it really slowly, but it's not like I'm trying to play all the way from Demon Souls to Elden Ring all in 1 year, right? Yeah, but I am going to try Demon Souls. I am going to try Dark Souls. I'm going to try 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to try finishing all of them this year. Yeah. And I'm going to play them in that chronological release order. So I'm going to have to... So I'm in an interesting situation, right? There is a PlayStation 5 in my current residence. And it's not mine. It's not mine. But the person who owns it has expressed that they'd be okay with me borrowing it. As long as I give it back to them before Final Fantasy 16 comes out. So I'm on a timer. I need to finish Demon Souls before Final Fantasy 16 comes out. Which looks like a very hype game in and of itself. I'm like, yo, I would love to stream Final Fantasy 16. Can I have the PlayStation 5 for that? And they're like, no. Yeah, but if I'm going to start with Demon Souls, I'm going to bother them about it later today and be like, hey, can I like take the PlayStation? Because I haven't put out a schedule just yet, because I literally got back like super late yesterday to my normal position in the observatory. So yeah, and then I need to figure out how to get it set up and blah, 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 whatever. But if I can, I would love to start playing Demon Souls as soon as possible. And yeah, and if I get it done sooner, yeah, I'll totally play like Sekiro and Bloodborne and Elden Ring as well. But man, four very hard, very long games is probably difficult enough. Let's see. I would like to produce and release 2 covers this year. One of which is the one that I announced on my birthday, which I'm still working on, actually. Yeah, no, it's progress is slow, but steady. Yeah, and like I have some interesting tools too. Yeah, 2 covers this year. 2 covers. I think I know what both of them are going to be, but you guys don't even know what one of them is going to be yet. Sorry. I just don't want to. I don't want to give too much info out before I completely figure out if it's possible or not. But 2 covers that I self-produce. Yeah.
You've actually jogged my memory for one of my other sort of resolutions.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know how many old internet folk we have watching us, but a very, very popular. I don't want to call it a meme, but like Mega Man related song Okusenman. I'd love to perhaps do a cover of that, because it's not a song you necessarily need to be good at singing for. You just need the passion. But there's a very, very popular like animated like Flash video that came along with it back in the day, and I'd love to like just pay an homage to that, because it's a song that I kind of like, not to sound sappy, but it's a song that I feel in my soul.
That's awesome.
And it does have like a few different like iterations of like English covers to it. So like going and, you know, finding English lyrics to work with wouldn't be impossible.
Oh, that's great. Oh man, Uma Arktos cover project featuring Japanese meme internet songs that are like hype as heck. That's amazing. Yeah,
Oh, so
let's
you want
go.
me to cover Marisa Stole the Precious Thing too?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've seen people try singing that on karaoke. It has a lot of interesting noises in it. Yeah. Yeah, but two covers is on my docket. Yeah, and it's just like, man, it's going to be a lot of work. It already has been a lot of work on one of them, but it's going to be a lot because I'm also learning a lot because really didn't do any of this music production stuff until last summer. So yeah, it's a lot of there's going to be like, I am on the learning curve right now, but like I'm working towards it, and I'm super looking forward to being able to just show you guys something that I'm proud of working on.
And to answer Moonman's question, yes, Jam Project did do a cover of Okusenman.
Okay. Interesting. You'll have to like link it to me later. The Jam Project one specifically. I don't think I've heard that one. Yeah. I would like to collaborate with 5 people outside of AstraLog by the end of the year. I think that's reasonable. It feels like Komi-san and make 100 friends before the end of high school kind of thing, but like 5, I think 5 is reasonable, right?
I think so too.
Yeah, it's like reaching out and like affirming like the connections you have with like mutual VTubers and stuff. But it would be cool to just play games, meet new people. Like one of my debut goals is like I want to collaborate with as many people as possible. Like, and that kind of segues into my final sort of like VTubing goal, which is I want to release the AstraLog lore video at some point this year. Man, it took a lot out of me making the sort of like debut announcement video, but like the lore video, I have an idea, and I feel like lore isn't really something that we've illustrated very much, but like man, it ties into things, and it's very personal to me. It's not like I just made up a story. No, this is my story. At least my lore, and I'm sure I've been dragging people along, like Uma, for instance, and like AstraLog is my lore, I guess. And as silly as it seems, I am member number 1, right? This is 100%, maybe kind of, maybe not a Steins Gate reference, right? Where it's like the founder of the gadget lab. All the members are referred to by number instead of generation. It's like we have numbers. We are like, I'm member number 1. I'm proudly member number 1. I'm proudly member number 2. I'm proudly member number 3, so on and so forth, right? But like, this is my lore. I founded AstraLog, and this means a lot to me. This means a lot to me, and I want to put it in such a way that you can see like how I got here, and it is my story. It is my story, I think. Is that too pretentious, Uma? I'm sorry. It's just like, I don't know. Like, this is...
I think that's fair. Like, I know, like, going through all of this lore was a very, very big discussion on all of this. So the fact that we, like, haven't done anything touching on it yet, like, we need to...
Yeah.
We should address that.
Yeah. It's just, you know, we're waiting on some stuff. Maybe some cool stuff. So yeah, look forward to cool AstraLog stuff in your future. Yeah, not on the resolution list, but if I enabled the ability to wink, I'd be doing it now. But yeah, oh wait, actually, there was one more that I tacked on at the very end. I don't intend to get very far with it this year, but I want to at least start, and that's DJing. A friend of mine, close friend of mine, actually, it's kind of funny. A close friend of mine a few years ago picked up DJing, and they needed to they ended up moving like halfway across the country and had to travel light. So they like passed down this like DJ table, this digital DJ table, to another friend of mine, who passed it down to another friend when they moved, to pass it down to another. Finally, they were like, Orion, now that it is my time to leave, it is yours now. So I have like a pretty okay DJ table, and I'm like, I've seen exactly a friend heirloom, yeah, but like I've seen like cool like DJ projects done before, like whether it's like like what the Wotagay scene, or if it's like VTubers who are like spinning their songs of them and their friends. Like, man, that sounds like fun. That sounds, or like going to like a rave environment and being like, man, I feel like I could do it sounds terrible if I'm like, I feel like I could learn to do this and at least make the songs more interesting, you know. This probably isn't indicative of all like rave DJs, but yeah.
Yeah, Taiga.
Yeah, Taiga. Yeah. I know the hidden language. I know the ancient magic. I wasn't there when the ancient words. I wasn't there when it was written, but I do know about it. But I have a DJ table and it's sitting next to my piano, my digital keyboard, and I'm like, it's just more music, isn't it? And this is something I'm pretty passionate about. So yeah, it'll be cool to kick that off and do something cool with that. Yeah, but that's kind of it for my resolutions. You got anything else? Did that awaken any memories that you might have forgotten?
I mean, I think I covered all of them now at that point. It was just really the potential cover one that I was, forgetting. Something to note about me, and I did say this during debut, but important to reiterate, I am horribly tone deaf. Not in like a social sense, but in an I can't sing sense. I used to be better, but then I went on a boy juice, and then now I kind of perpetually sound like a teenage boy, which does not work well for singing, at least for me.
Yeah, well, I'm super looking forward to what you end up creating. That's awesome. Yeah. So I guess that brings us on to the final thing we wanted to talk about, which is the near future. What's coming up in the near future? What games, what activities are we thinking of doing?
Oh, geez. Well, first, let me pull up my schedule for the coming week, because I made that and you didn't, so I've got a one-up on you there.
Yeah, well, hey, I was hands were tied until just recently.
Okay. Let's see. Well, tomorrow I'm doing more Hades. Maybe this time we'll beat Dad. I don't know how long I will play it. And this kind of goes for everything this week, as I am currently trying to make up time at the Kingdom for my absence, as explained earlier in the stream. So in fact, I'm actually still sitting here with my sad soup. It's gone cold because I have not been eating it to spare you all some gross slurping sounds. Anyway, but yeah, back to my schedule. Tomorrow I'm doing more Hades. Maybe we'll beat Dad. I'll go for a few runs, potentially. Thursday. This is all Eastern time, by the way. All 9 p.m. down the road, except for 1. Thursday, I'm doing more Minecraft. So fun fact, last time I played Minecraft was actually, I was doing it like offline, not streaming it in like the server I stream from, and I encountered some pillagers, to which I beat them, but like they inflicted their like pillager curse on me, where it'd be very dangerous for me to go to a village right now, which is troubling because that means I can't get started on my iron farm right away. I think I still have like an hour on the timer. So might just be like an hour of me flattening more land before I can actually go build an iron farm, or maybe I'll go like mine diamonds, like they say. And then on Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, I'm doing more GeoGuessr, sober this time. There's a way to dispel the debuff? Oh, I'll worry about that when I'm not on stream, but good to know. I'll look that up. But Friday, Eastern time, 9 p.m., I'm doing more GeoGuessr, sober this time. Not doing it at like 1 a.m., several like glasses of whiskey in, And while I initially planned to do it solo, but last minute, Mr. Ori here asked me if he could join me for that. So he'll be joining me for GeoGuessr. I don't exactly know if that means he'll just be watching me do it, or if we'll do like a multiplayer kind of deal. We're gonna talk on that later, maybe. Or he can touch upon his idea right now.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna join voice chat and look over your shoulder if that's okay. If it's too obnoxious, we could do like a real multiplayer mode. But I did end up catching part of your previous stream. I'm like, whoa, I see things, but I can't tell Uma. I can't tell Uma because I'm not in VC. I'm like, what if I was?
For those of you who didn't watch my drunk GeoGuessr, well, first
it was
of all,
amazing.
I haven't privated the VOD for it yet, so do that until I finally stop before I finally stop procrastinating on that. Not that I did anything like offensive on it. It's mostly because there's like ads on there, none that like really dox me, but like ads are just annoying, and like I'm a drunk mess in it, so I don't know how drunk of a mess I was, and I don't know if I like did anything potentially embarrassing. All I know is I was inoffensive through and through, I hope.
Gotta clip the part about the ducks.
Oh right, because I saw the sign selling ducks. I remember that. Where was that, in like Michigan or something?
I think that was the New York one.
Was it the New York one?
Yeah, like there were some farms. There was like a farm selling bunnies, and across from it was a farm selling ducks. It's like a phone number or something. Probably blur that out. It's like, you want ducks? Yeah. We got them. And I'm like, whoa, they got the ducks.
But yeah, for context, I've been just to this point exclusively doing the America map, only because it's the easiest for me to like figure out and all that. But in doing that, it also paints a picture of just how much nothing there is in the United States of America. Like the second you get outside of an urban area, it's just stretches of jack shit. And the road is going to give you no information whatsoever for miles. It's kind of amazing. One day we'll go on a road trip, Ori. One day.
All right, sounds good.
But yeah, final thing on my schedule for the week is on Saturday, I'm finally cracking open Pokemon Violet.
Let's go.
So I actually want to do a challenge for Pokemon Violet, but I'm not sure what. So if I don't think of anything, I'm probably just going to do a playthrough in Japanese. Feel free to spitball ideas at me because I'm at a loss. And I don't want it to be a challenge that takes like 1 billion hours to do.
Let's talk.
But the thing is, if I do it in Japanese, at least it's good practice for me.
I have an idea. We'll talk later. We'll talk later. It might be a stream idea for me too. Who knows?
Cool.
All right.
And then the only other like future thing on my schedule is actually the 9th of this month is my birthday.
Hell yeah.
And I've put 0 thought into what I'm doing for that. So I don't know. That I need ideas for that too.
Awesome. Yeah, honestly, I didn't have much lead up time for my birthday because I was like, we just debuted. I'm still recovering from that. Oh God, birthday time in a week. Wow.
I'm not going to be singing, that's for sure.
All right, well.
Maybe I'll crack open a cold one and shoot the shit and call it a night.
Cool. The classic birthday Zatsudan. All right, so for me, I haven't put the schedule up yet because I was waiting on Uma being like, yeah, you're okay to be annoying and join in on Friday. And also the whether or not I can get my mitts on the PlayStation 5 sooner rather than later to start Demon's Souls. Because I'd love to start that as soon as I can. But things that were immediately on my docket of games that I wanted to play. Yeah, so like I'm going to start the Soul series, right? A lot of people have been talking to me about, well, a few regular viewers in particular are talking about One Shot, right? And that's like another one of those like mind-bendy kind of games that takes advantage of the fact that it's a game to do cool stuff. And I'm probably going to play the Switch version for that as well because I think it does similar things to what Inscription did. So I'm going to play it in like a closed ecosystem there. I was recommended by a friend that, hey, you should totally stream and play the investigation, like supernatural mystery game, The Somnium Files. It's by a game director that I really, really like. Like in my debut.
Heard of it.
Yeah, I mentioned that one of my favorite games of all time for its story was the 999 series, like the Zero Escape series, which 999 is one of them. And it is the same director who worked on that game as well. And it's like a full-on, like fully voiced adventure mystery detective kind of game. And I'm like, whoa, that's really cool. And another new game that I was interested in picking up was the game Control. It was a Video Game Awards like finalist for like in a lot of categories a few years ago. And it's like essentially the SCP Foundation if it was run by like a clandestine government organization instead of a bunch of lunatics underground. And like the premise of the game is that like the main character's brother or something is like the president or like the head of this particular branch of the like Control Secret Service. And there's like a weird distress signal sent to the main character, and she steps into the building and immediately the door out disappears behind her, and she has to like fight her way out and save like a bunch of the people that are trapped inside this like hellish interdimensional maze that's like opened up inside the building. And it is like a little bit horror and a little bit like supernatural action, like dark comedy kind of stuff. And I have been wanting to play that a lot. And like all I know is that there's like a gun in that game that's like not a gun. That is like what all the like combat and main sort of like things are based around. I'm super interested in trying that out. And I now have a computer that might actually be strong enough. My streaming computer might actually be strong enough to play it with RTX on. Yeah, baby. So I'm interested in playing my first RTX enabled game, I guess. And I hear the game was just really good in general, and that they're probably going to make a sequel to it in the future. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I saw like I've been avoiding footage of the game just so I could be as like unspoilered as possible. But there was like a time trials mode in the game where I saw someone at Games Done Quick playing it, and they ran through this time trial, and it was trippy as heck, but like it made sense. The gameplay looks like a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to playing it. Yeah, it's like a third-person shooter that doesn't play by the rules of like reality matching up, which is like kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to that. And there's plenty more. Like I've every single time anyone's recommended a game in a stream, I have written it down, and I'm probably going to play it sometime because you know what? All these games sound interesting. But yeah, that's the near future for me. And I honestly finished a lot of the games I was playing last year. I'm probably going to play a little more Pokemon Scarlet. Pokemon Violet. Pokemon Violet, so that I can finish the lore. Like all those classes I skipped, I finished the lore there at the very least. And there is the DLC for Metal Gear Rising as well. So yeah, there's all kinds of fun stuff to do. And I swear, I'm going to put the schedule together right after this stream. But yeah,
you know, almost halfway through the week.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. It's all right.
Oh,
yeah.
I did, while you were talking, one other resolution popped into my head. Sorry to like go back to the topic.
No problem.
But it is one that like is important to me. So I actually want to this year commission more artists and try to support Kickstarters if or where I can. Obviously, it's money pending because while I do have income, like I still gotta pay Earth rent. Unfortunately, here things cost money, and that's I gotta get the necessities first. But when I can, I think it'd be really nice to just give artists back. Fun fact: I always tip. I always try to leave a good tip. So, yeah, I'm always looking out for commission posts. I'll bookmark them if I don't, see it right away. So, unfortunately, like for a lot of artists, I know that means I might, miss the initial window. So, if I miss the window, they close, but whatever. But yeah, Kickstarters too. It'd be fun to start backing some games because that's not really something that I've done a lot of yet.
Heck yeah, it's nice to support the things you're excited about for sure. Oh man, commissioning art sounds like a good idea too. Not on my resolution list, but it's something I'll definitely consider. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. that's the wrap up for 2022 and sort of just how we feel about what's coming up in 2023. AstraLog's got some cool stuff coming up, and yeah, thanks for joining us and being a part of that. We're we are small, but yeah, with your support.
What are you talking about? No, you're small.
Oh, okay. Well, with your crazy amount of support, you have Gigantamaxed Uma over there. So yeah, keep at it, and maybe he'll be even bigger. Yeah.
I think this is as big as I can scroll in.
All right then. Well, thanks for joining us. I am going to probably post the resolutions that we talked about. Well, at least my resolutions. I'm gonna encourage Uma to do the same with his resolutions. But yeah,
I think I've already posted mine.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll post mine on social media. And I'm probably gonna get a cup of make a fresh cup of that apple cinnamon infusion that my mom gave me, and put the schedule together. Yeah. And yeah, and pester the PS5 owner. Yeah, but we got fun stuff coming up. Oh, that's right. Another near future thing. I am going on probably the biggest journey of my life in February. I won't say where, but I will probably talk about where it is when I'm actually there. But it will take me away from my streaming setup for probably a week and a half. So
better buy me a souvenir.
Oh yeah, no, you're getting you're getting a souvenir. You're getting a souvenir, no doubt. Yes. But it's going to be big. It's going to be big. It's a trip I've always wanted to make, and I'm all about that travel. That literally me. So, yeah, just a heads up, I will be away, but I'm going to be active on social media, maybe Twitter Spaces. I don't know. It's not going to be super. I won't have many very good opportunities to like speak or stream, but pictures, updates on social media and stuff, and definitely when I get back, there's going to be a lot of stories to tell about the stuff that I did. But you'll find out where it is when I'm at the destination, so look forward to that.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So, well, you wanna give your sign off, and then I'll give mine.
Yeah, sure. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Please look forward to all of our stuff that's going on. Once again, you all saw my schedule. Please follow at Uma Arktos on whatever website you use. If you are here watching without using a website of any sort, that's really impressive, and I want to know how you did it. So with that, unite everybody, unite everybody, unite everybody.
Unite, and thanks for joining us. Until we meet again. See ya. Happy New Year!